Good morning, Sean here. It is time for the Revelstoke Mayor Report with Mayor Gary Sauls. Good morning, Gary. So, Gary, let's just dive right into it, okay?
Let's go.
Let's talk about Fortis.
All right.
Let's get a detail on what that is all about. Now, I had a few people asking me about Fortis. I know there was an article about it on the Mountaineer. I'm just curious. What say you?
So Fortis has put a proposal to BCUC, the Utilities Commission, to lower the price of propane here in the community to equal of what natural gas is in the rest of the province. So that would be probably a savings of $450 a year for most consumers here in Revelstoke, most residential consumers. So previous Mayor McKee and council were talking with Fortis for a long time now about getting some lower rates, what we call postage stamp rates. And so we're propelling that forward. And Fortis has said, yep, let's try and see what we can do that. So what problem I've got is that we have RCEC, Revelstoke Energy Corporation. They use propane as well, but also they have 10 customers that are paying a premium for what we call wood waste heat in the community.
Okay.
So I've applied on behalf of the city and RCEC to be what's called an intervener at the talks about this. So to have discussions with the Utilities Commission about seeing what we can do with Fortis to make sure that RCEC remains viable. So we'll be having those conversations at the table with the Utilities Commission and with Fortis. And so we're not saying we don't want the lowering of the rates for our community. On the contrary, we want to see that go forward, but we want to see what Fortis is willing to do for our utility and move forward there. So the only way that we can have discussions with the Utilities Commission and with Fortis is by having intervener status.
Okay.
So that's where we're at.
Okay, very good. I just wanted to clear that up because I think there might be a few out there that were thinking that Gary doesn't want people to have a cheaper Fortis bill. But to be fair, I thought that was probably not the case. Okay, now I noticed that you guys are working on the OCP, which also sounds like a 90s rap song. Now, I wanted to ask about the OCP. I think, and I could be wrong on this, and this is me guessing, when we're talking about the OCP, the idea is that we want to have a discussion about what we can, can't, or will or won't build, kind of thing, like a bird's eye visual of how we want to see the community growing. Now, and that isn't what it is in essence, but that's not necessarily what you're working on right now.
No, right at the point from this period on, starting 2 days ago until November 9th, we're working on what we call a visioning. And so we're going out to the community hoping to get at least 750 responses to look at saying, what do you want to see for Revelstoke moving forward? And so basically that process is just starting. It's in the works. So there'll be presentations, there'll be pop-up things where all of a sudden you'll see city staff out in some area of the community asking people to fill out these surveys. You can get the survey online. The planning department has also indicated that they'll go talk to people about it, but that there is visioning kits as well that people can go if you're having a party and you want to talk about city stuff and you want to, fill out that survey and look at that. Those things are all possible. So we're going to go till the 9th, and then they're going to kind of take the results from that, and then there'll be feedback to the community saying, is this what we heard, and kind of move forward. And then that visioning process will come to council sometime in March saying, this is what we heard, this is what the community wants. And then once we get the vision done, then we can start working on neighborhood plans and that sort of thing to complete the official community plan. That process, the whole process, we expect will take about 2 years.
Okay, so that's when we will get into a little bit more specifics about we would really like to see townhomes for, 55 and up that are ready to sell their big home but still live in the community, etc., as an example.
That's correct, yeah. We'll go through all that. And we'll talk about it from neighborhood to neighborhood as to what the neighborhoods want to see in their neighborhood.
Okay, so that'll be fun, I'm sure, and very interesting.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how many people play the game and give answers, because one of the things I've noticed a lot of online talking is it's up to us also to read what's going on in our City Hall.
Yep.
It's up to City Hall to put it out there, for sure, but it's also up to us to read and learn about what's going on and ask those questions.
Yeah, and that's what we're hoping, is that people will take their thoughts and they will engage with the community and give us absolute thought as to what they want or what they don't want, so that we can work from there. If you're just gonna sit in the periphery and kind of make your name or your comments known, but really not come to us at the city, then how can we help with that? So,
okay. Now, we've got a pretty interesting few weeks. I won't put you on the hot spot about any election stuff because that's not cool or fair. But is there anything else that you think that's important that's going on that I don't know about, or maybe the audience needs to know about in the next little while?
Well, for next council meeting, we're going to have a public hearing at 5 o'clock dealing with the temporary use permit. So that's going to be part of the council meeting, but we're going to delay that part till 5 p.m. So those who are at work, if they can get off early, or if they're off work by that time, can actually come and engage and tell us what they think about that. So temporary work or use permits are basically going to be community-wide, and so that we can put things in that may not be designated for that. So a prime example is housing. If we want, somebody comes forward and says, listen, I want to put workforce housing on this piece of property, but it's not zoned for it, maybe we can give a temporary use permit while they're applying for that to start the process sooner and get things moving along faster.
Okay, so just to touch base on that, that is in somewhat relation to the concept of having the shelter at the United Church, because it's not zoned for that. This would be impartial to that, but not necessarily about that. It would be a overall. So it would be approved overall, not specific to that, but that would fall under that category, which then would lead to the next discussion of the shelter. Am I correct in saying this?
You're correct in that.
Okay.
Yep. And so we are going to have some information sessions, or one information session regarding the shelter, and we'll do that sometime in November. I haven't got the exact date yet.
Okay. So those are they're connected, but they're two separate pillars.
Issues. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, have a great Thanksgiving, Gary, and we'll see you next week.
Great. Thanks so much. Take care.